Hey folks, sappenin'! Thanks for meeting me here at the Broad Contemporary Art Museum in Los Angeles. The first thing that you'll notice about the Broad is the lacy, honeycombed covering of the building. It is designed that way to allow for natural light, and because the architect was a huge tripper. The Broad has been home to exhibits such as Untitled. It's a stack of giant plates by artist Robert Therian. Why he went with the name Untitled is beyond me. After all, this piece he named Under the Table, so I don't know. Other notable pieces which have had showings at the Broad are The Infinity Mirror Room by Yayoi Kusama and Blue Balloon Dog by Jeff Kuhn. Anywho, today I wanted to show you all the brilliant work of Mr. Art Frahm. I first learned of Art Frahm from James Lileks and Lileks.com, link in the description. If you enjoy humor on the fringe, please check out the website. There is a ton of good stuff there. I figured what better way to share with you the work of Art Frahm than a fake trip to a real museum. I chose the Broad because, well, the admission is free. You guys ready? Let's go! Watch the traffic. Okay, this is our first stop here. The scene is not one that Mr. Frahm uses often. Well, I take that back. The setting is not one he uses frequently. However, the basic scenario, oh yeah, he uses the fuck out of that. So what do we notice about this image? What would you say pops out at you the most? If you said the presence of celery, you're not wrong. And as we browse the collection, you'll notice that the two things that remain relatively consistent are the artist's fascination with celery and gravity, and the effect it has on panties. Mr. Lileks states,
"This certainly happens every day, doesn't it? This fine picture has all the classic elements of an Art Frahm underwear versus gravity battle. Public humiliation, hand in the crotch, a uniformed working man in close proximity, the open fallen purse, consult Freud for the actual meaning of that one, and of course, celery."
Until I read that, I had not considered that perhaps the paintings are less about a panty fetish and more about a humiliation fetish. That certainly would make sense, as you will see. I love the color combinations in these mid-century paintings. Dark green upholstery, the cream ceiling, it's just gorgeous. I had a friend who owned a 57 Chevy Bel Air station wagon with these colors. It was tits. Speaking of tits, Lileks goes on to say,
"The painting has a brilliant invention worthy of the Northern European Renaissance, a mirror that adds an ironic twist."
What he's referring to is the way in which the sub-subject, the driver, is able to look simultaneously at the maiden's crotch, while with the aid of a mirror look at her breasts as well. And what about this driver anyways? Talk about racial ambiguity. I thought he was Caucasian, and then I thought black, then I was certain he was Mexican. Currently I think he may be Filipino. One lucky son of a bitch is what he is, know what I'm saying? Set there on his slice of pumpernickel seat. One of Lileks' finer points about this piece, he says,
"Buses of the 1950s were apparently pressurized. The opening of the door has caused air to rush out, explaining the billowing skirt."
I mean, look at that. There's no other way to explain the gust blowing out of the bus. Unless... The issue of time is often a curiosity in these Frahm paintings. You see her clutch splayed open on the floor, right, with her keys falling out and, what is that, a condom? But you'll notice there's a bag of something, I want to say coffee perhaps, that still hasn't hit the floor. Yet her panties are all the way down, and she stares to the back of the bus as if mortified a fellow passenger may notice. It seems as if the clutch, laying motionless, the contents long since spilled out, had to have hit the floor a minimum of, a few seconds ago? Which doesn't sound like a lot of time. However, imagine it was you. How long would you take to put down the groceries and pull up the skivvies? Think about it. The look on this gal's face seems to say, "Oh, darn. Did I just drop all this stuff and, good heavens, my panties too?" The whole thing just feels a bit exhibitionist on her part. The mail seems to be not dropped in surprise, but purposefully tossed to maximize the attention from those in close proximity. I would say that this was staged to give the gal a cheap thrill. The purse is spilling out what? A couple keys, maybe a cigarette butt, some sort of a coupling, a washer, not much you would expect to see, like, oh, I don't know, money? A staged panty drop would also account for the items spilling from the bag. The celery is yellowing, old. The can of something appears to be opened and emptied, and this box for scouring pads has been opened as well. Add to that a pair of knickers that are clearly 2 sizes too big, and I sense trickery. This Chinese takeout has spilled its contents entirely, and it leads me to believe that this was there a while before Miss Lucy Goosey came flouncing up the steps. About this one, Mr. Lileks says,
"Why is she looking at us? We didn't do anything. Unless, of course, these paintings are actually taken from an instruction manual for a race of telekinetic lechers. This has all the standard unreality of Frahm world, and then some. Not only has her underwear deployed, but she's dropped everything. A package, mail, a narrow bottle of ketchup whose trajectory indicates it passed through the side of the bag, and of course, her purse. The leering man in this tableau is a kindly father figure who takes an innocent, well, land's sake, delight in her mishap. Behind him, a woman who observes the scene and laughs in sororal treachery."
Let's move on. Oh, this is a good one. Lileks says,
"Please explain how your underwear can fall off when you're standing in the posture of the Colossus of Rhodes. If we weren't there, you get the feeling she just stares straight ahead, panties around her ankles, and then hobble across the street when the traffic permitted."
To me, it looks like she's saying, "Panties, am I right?" Then Lileks asks, what if the bus she was waiting for is the same that we saw in the previous painting?
Then the driver would go home and kill himself, because while one could always believe a woman's underwear might fall off on some other day in the future, it would never happen twice in the same shift again. No reason to go on living.
That's pretty funny. Celery is present, you'll notice. It's noticeably absent of peripheral goings-on. I mean, no buildings, cars, even the street just blends with the sky. Lileks, for his part, describes it as a
Magritte-like expanse of surreal oblivion.
Spot on. Oh, this is a good one. As Lileks points out,
an additional note of peril has been introduced to the mid-traffic scene. The dog. Should it go bounding off in the high spirits plainly evident in the breed, it will knock her legs from beneath her and dash her head on the pavement.
Well, her panties have long since fluttered down and lay still on her feet. Meanwhile, the pickles are clearly not long for this earth, having already torn the bag. We are just milliseconds from those puppies being hopelessly smashed on the median. Isn't it odd that the street is yellow? Where on earth has the street ever been yellow? Equally strange is that the only 2 vehicles we see are also yellow, and the position of them makes it appear that the same car is both exiting the frame and entering it. You know, I bet dollars to donuts that if she gets the green, crossing out of frame will only result in her walking in from the other side. This is your doing, isn't it, Hellhound? This one is titled Shakedown. Well, the title implies that the pneumatic jackhammer was responsible for the loosening of her drawers, but I suggest she was barely keeping them up to begin with, clamping her thighs, no doubt. Then, when the scene with the blue-collar workers presented itself, well, she got within a couple of feet, unclenched, and zoot, down they go. And it probably sounded something like this. I noticed old Coop over here is an accident waiting to happen. Standing below the eye line of a speeding Studebaker or similar, he's just begging to be separated from his lower half. No safety cones or barricades to be seen. Not surprising, this was an era when drinking and driving was encouraged, and seatbelts were an option when buying a car. This guy looks like Thurston Howell taking in an eyeful and storing it in the old spank bank. I can't tell if this woman is putting her hand to her face or... Wait, is she on a cell phone? Now this one's titled, Going Down. Get it? Going down? In this scene, Lileks astutely asks,
Where exactly is she coming from? Is she going down? Then she was up above floor 2, not the usual location for a grocery store. She's obviously disembarking unless she makes a habit of backing into elevators. So she's been to a combination hat shop and grocery store on the upper floor of an office building. Fine. At least she kept her purse closed, a modest touch underscored by the hand in her groin that holds down the dress. There's actually a reason her dress is billowing. Air flowing from the crack between the car and the floor. Skirt lifting gusts don't usually flow from the shaft on the first floor, but this is called artistic license.
Check out the elevator jockey not really taking any of it in. Based on his eyes looking past the young woman and considering what is playing out right in front of him, I think it's fair to say that this fellow doesn't go for the ladies. He's already planning on what he'll say when he gets off and makes his way poolside. If only this broad would make up her mind. Is she exiting after taking the elevator down, or is she on her way up? We may never know. Oh, this is a good one. The gentleman outside the booth and the be-pantied young woman have seemingly been hit with a freezing ray. It's hard to imagine she was able to even get in the booth with all that baggage, let alone make a call. And the way these bifold doors work, how did she manage to get her dress caught? The only explanation is a child has shut the door from the inside. That may be who the sack lunch belonged to. This guy on the left with his daddy-o zapatos has begun to show signs he is in a K-hole. His frozen grin has taken on a haunting look, and he stares blankly at the wall of the booth. You get the sense that he'll be there for quite some time. And then there's Captain Eyesight over there, 50 feet away, but still ready to turn and laugh at a moment's notice. Nothing gets past him. Ah yes, the Gerber baby is all growed up and looking for a good time. And boy did he find it. Ask yourself though, how is it he can be aware of the undergarment mishap playing out not only behind him, but on the other side of the ball return? Remember, this is in a noisy bowling alley to boot. I suppose the bigger question is not whether this is actually the Gerber baby as an adult. It is. But if we can accept that he has a psychic connection to all panties within a 10-foot radius, how do we explain these jokesters, pointing and laughing from their second-row seats 50 feet back? Or Joni Cunningham back here, craning her neck to get in on the mockery? Mr. Lileks poses the best question.
If your panties fall down in a forest, is there anyone who doesn't hear it?
Okay, here we are. The celery has returned from its hiatus. There again is the dress billowing from an unseen wind, the beginnings of an avalanche of food, a uniformed professional in jackboots this time, looking on with nary a thought to assist. In fact, he looks a little stumped. He knows he wants to cite her for something, but what? Littering, maybe. And this man has enormous pockets, it seems, which is good because apparently he has a Stephen King novel in there. I'm guessing The Stand. Lileks really made me crack up though when he said,
The cop has closed his eyes because he has seen enough of this world.
Uh-oh, no celery again, so you know we're in for something special. Regarding the subject, well, there's an apparent cold front moving in. She has her favorite Yankees dress on, the one she fashioned from an old parachute. The look on her face says, I'm an idiot. I took all these tools out, pliers, screwdriver, for no reason. I'm a moron. I ought to just drop the tire iron before somebody gets hurt. I mean, I tried to shove the jack in the tailpipe after all. Meanwhile, the tow truck employee, uniformed of course, exits his European tow truck apparently. He begins to formulate a joke about shoving a jack in a tailpipe, but decides against it. He doesn't want to spook this little bunny. Clearly she is DTF.
Those panties down around... Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute. How did those panties get past the garter belts?
And that was the last thought he ever had. The world went dark. An hour later, the truck was found abandoned with no sign of the driver or the other vehicle anywhere. If only there had been celery. Ah, the beach pals. This one makes me dizzy like I have vertigo. It is tame at first glance, almost has a Betty Page feel to it. The smile looks fetching, and the way the ocean breeze tousles her hair. It feels real. But that last painting, the last one with the tow truck, it was cautionary. I mean, with no celery to be seen anywhere, I get a sense of impending danger. That creature she embraces, it has the look of a Trojan horse crossed with, what, a tortoise? And is it supposed to be inflatable? It should be, right? I mean, that's why she brought it down to the beach, but hang on. Why are there steps leading up to the side of this creature? Is there an unseen door that will pop open, releasing an army of small humanoids ready to cut me down where I stand, oblivious and trusting? And clouds? Waves? This is not the Art Frahm I came to jeer at. You can keep your creepy hover horse or whatever that is, lady. I'm out of here. Let's go. I'm going to let Lileks take this one.
This is not sexy. This is a bad dream. From nowhere comes the serpentine ostrich neck with its impassive old man face, silently pulling up the maiden's skirt because he wants the cherry. I'm serious, your basic hustler centerfold is healthier than this image. At least it's more honest. It makes one wonder, did art ever do anything normal?
Why, yes, as you'll see. Allegedly painted by Art Frahm, I would suppose it came in his twilight years. It seems skillfully done. Gone are the needless groceries, hat boxes, lecherous onlookers, and vacant look on the face of the subject. No, this gal isn't the vapid type which we had become accustomed to seeing in Art Frahm's work. As for the escaping unmentionables, well, I like to think that they're down there around her ankles, but like the lady they adorn, these panties are just enjoying themselves, playfully teasing and completely self-aware. This work cannot be verified as a Frahm, though it borrows from him at the very least. Laughing doofuses, check. Fallen under things, check. Incongruous look on the face of the victim, check. Secondary female mindlessly sniffing her fingers, check. Yeah, nothing weird here. Now this is not Art Frahm, this is actually the work of J. Scott Pike, who apparently studied under Art Frahm, but seems to have surpassed him, to be honest. Lileks points out,
the woman is much more alive. The tumbling spheres remind one of, well, the other tumbling spheres.
And there is celery. There's a couple construction types on the lol taking it all in, even though there's no way they could see it. The best part is the imminent industrial accident that will no doubt unfold in the moments that follow, when the hulking machines that these two men operate go haywire due to them being focused on something other than the tonnage of earth that they are loading. The one thing they never taught these guys is what to do when operating a crane or earth mover and a nearby woman drops her underwear unexpectedly. The carnage that follows can only be blamed on human error. Well, we know the real culprit was the second-rate elastic sewn into the waist of those panties, but knowing that doesn't bring back Carl Glick or his new bride, or the McGuffin twins, or that nice family on vacation from Tulsa, Troop 347, well, you know, you've seen the headlines. This one here, it's an ad for spring-made fabrics. Yes, it shows the influence of Frahm, but it somehow feels like the work of Frahm collided with Toulouse-Lautrec or something. I can't put my finger on it, but it's got celery. Do we have one more? Oh my god, oops. This is embarrassing. That is actually a baked salmon original. I don't know how that got in there. Oh yeah, that's right. I've been known to be a bit of an artist myself, but you folks wouldn't want to see any of my silly old art, would you? If you would like to see my silly old art in a future video, please let me know. Boy, I guess we were in there for quite a while. Anyways, that's Art Frahm. I appreciate you taking it all in with me. I've been a huge fan of Frahm since, whenever I encountered Lileks some 12 years ago or so. Probably been longer than that. Anyways, check out Lileks.com. The guy's a legend. He has all sorts of cool pop culture crap that he riffs on. It's truly impressive. Alright, man. Well, I'm going to take off. I'm meeting some true crime folks over at Lisa Lamb's hotel. Alright, man. Peace out.